Welcome to the Bible Forum. This is March 24th, 2019. I wanted to share with you an article that I wrote entitled When Religion Dominates the World. The byline is Rome. And Jorge Bergoglio, otherwise known as Pope Francis, leader of Roman Catholicism around the world, met just recently with Mormon leader Russell Nelson and Mormon leader Russell Ballard. Ballard of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. The two discussed their mutual concerns about various societal issues and exchanged gifts, which included the Pope sharing his writings on the Islamic religion. Now, some suggest that the meeting is another example of the Vatican's goal to forge a one-world religion. And I don't doubt that for a minute. Nelson and Ballard are currently in Rome for the dedication of the new Mormon temple in that city. Nelson tweeted after the meeting about the Pope, "He's a wonderful, gracious man. We have much in common. The differences in doctrine are real and they're important, but they're not nearly as important as the things we have in common." Let me explain something to you. That's what every compromiser has said as long as they've been on the planet. Oh, we don't agree on everything, but the doctrine is not what's really important, or the differences, I should say, but what we have in common is where it's at. No. Although they have more in common with each other than they do with me. He also explained in a video and press release posted to the Latter-day Saints newsroom that the three discussed their concerns about various global issues, things from human suffering to their emphasis on family unit to religious liberty. They didn't talk about the gospel. They didn't talk about hermeneutics. They talked about social issues. We talked about our mutual concern for people who suffer throughout the world and our desire to relieve human suffering. We talked about the importance of religious liberty, the importance of the family, our mutual concern for the youth, the church, the need for people to come to God and worship Him, pray to Him, and have the stability that faith in Jesus Christ will bring in their lives. That sounds wonderful. Ballard said he noted that the Pope noted to the Pope that Mormons and Catholics already work together on a lot of different fronts. He explained to His Holiness that we work side by side, that we have projects with Catholic relief services all over the world in over 43 countries. We've been shoulder to shoulder as partners in trying to relieve suffering, trying to help people who are struggling. There's been a bunch of people who have applauded that meeting, but there's just as many who find occasion to be another example of the Vatican's desire to unite all religions. This is what the world is about today. These are two monolithic organizations, the Catholic Church being the largest, doing a dance together to see who can control the other one the most. Will these people come into my group, or can I meld into their group, or how does this work? Mike Gendron of Proclaiming the Gospel Ministries in South Lake, Texas, told Christian News Network, "The meeting of the Pope with another leader of a world religion adds to the growing evidence of his agenda to bring all religions under the power and the influence of the papacy." And that's what the papacy's been about since the beginning. He said Pope Francis is a man with an end times mission to unite the people of the world with a global religion of peace and prosperity. Now, as previously reported last month, the Pope met with Islamic Sheikh Ahmad Al Taib in Abu Dhabi, where he jointly signed the document on human fraternity for world peace and living together. The Pope and Islam. It asserts that diversity of religions are willed by God and that men should not be forced to adhere to a certain religion or culture. Got a verse for that, Pope? Have you got a verse for this? Nothing in the Bible is farther from the truth. He went on to say the pluralism and the diversity of religions, color, sex, race, language are all willed by God and His wisdom through which He created human beings. This divine wisdom is the source from which the right to freedom of belief and freedom to be different derives. Therefore, the fact that people are forced to adhere to a certain religion or culture must be rejected. Rejected as an imposition of a cultural way of life that others do not accept. We're seeing more of that. If I do not accept your culture as being equally good, then I'm a horrible person. I can now be an ungodly person. But there are cultures on this world that are not good. Gendron said that while Nelson noted there are differences between Mormons and Roman Catholics, the one doctrine they have in common is the doctrine that is common to all religions and apostate Christianity. It's the doctrine of salvation by works and human merit. All the religions of the world teach a works, righteousness, salvation. All of them. Only biblical Christianity teaches salvation by God's grace, based on the finished, all-sufficient work and sacrifice of Jesus Christ. He expressed a hopefulness that Christians would share the gospel with all these religious groups. These men are leading their respective flocks down a wide road to destruction with their false gospel. Members of both religions will never know they have been deceived unless they are confronted with truth, the truth of the gospel of grace. But it's never going to happen from a Roman Catholic priest, pope or otherwise. It's never going to happen with any of these other cults, religious cults, even the ones that are Christianized. It's only going to happen when someone is faced with the gospel. A gospel that says, you are a sinner. Not because you've sinned, you were born that way. You came into this world with a corrupt nature, not one that was oriented toward God at all. And unless that changes, you will go out of this world into judgment. And on the divine level, there's only two ways to go. Either you are as holy as God, or you're not. You say, well, you're not holy as God. I have been declared holy by God because I repented of my sin and I believed the gospel message of Jesus Christ, that He paid the price, the only price that could be paid. I can't even pay it. If I paid the price for my sin, I'd be in hell for eternity. That's the price. Jesus paid the price that I don't have to. It's called grace. It's a gift. And it's a gift that anybody can have freely. Simply recognize that you're a sinner, that you deserve hell. Repent of that sin. Turn the complete opposite way and believe that what Jesus did on that cross was sufficient. Believe that from your heart. And when you die, God will take you to heaven. That's the gospel that none of these groups understand.